Hey, what's good, everyone? Hope everybody had a good weekend and is ready to have a very nice week this week. I know there's a lot of things setting up nice that I want to go over, but if all goes according to plan, should be a very good, profitable week here. Now, lately, we know that we've been having some pretty tight channels, and they're finally starting to move in tech. We had an amazing July, and kind of after earnings, you have a lot of names now that are just a little bit of chop, right? We're not necessarily bearish. We had a couple things sell off, but not necessarily bearish, right? Like right now, I have the AMD chart pulled up here to the left. A little bit of a sell-off, but I wouldn't call this bearish, right? Some nice sideways movement and still holding on to most of our key supply points, right? We closed above the 10-day. We closed above all of our moving averages on Friday. Looks like a very good setup, right? Starting to finally break above all those moving averages, and now we could start to see a macro breakout and trade back to the upside. This is going to be one of those names, along with several others that I want to go over, that is finally starting to look like, after a week of kind of just non-existent volume, really just names that we were catching nice bounces. We had a good week last week, right? I mean, we had some pretty nice setups, but we didn't really get that. We had to work hard for it, and they were few and far between. So go lay down, bud. My dog's trying to eat my ice cream here while I'm doing this. But, so let's go ahead and let's dive into kind of what I'm looking at. And just keep in mind here that we are going to be looking for aggressive flow on any name. And I'm going to talk about that in this next slide. AMD is finally starting to wake up, right? I have the chart pulled up here, and I just told you guys starting to close above all those moving averages. Now, here's the thing here. There was some massive out-of-the-money call buying that was coming through in Titan Flow for 820 and 827 expiration. They were going after the 117 calls for 820 and the 122 calls for 827 with some substantial size. And some of those contracts had about 20,000 in volume with only 2,000 or 3,000 open interest. So extremely encouraging when you see 10 times as much volume as open interest, and as well as the chart starting to set up nice. Again, volume stepped in there pretty nice on Friday. And keep in mind, guys, I say that not a bearish name, right? Even throughout that sell-off, we were not bearish. Whenever you have an uptrend with strong volume, right, and then the downtrend has weak volume, it's kind of a sign that the name isn't necessarily getting sold aggressively. It's just cooling off a little before its next leg up. So now, going forward, we want to keep an eye on potentially that 112.5. Maybe we'll keep an eye on that spot. And if it starts ripping throughout the week and we do well on this name, just keep bouncing it, right? Anytime the stock's in a nice uptrend, like when they were going through this uptrend here, we were bouncing it. We probably bounced this name 4 or 5 times, right, throughout this 6-7 day run here. So definitely keeping a very close eye on AMD. Apple, another name I want to target here, guys. This 150 spot, been building under this for a while. And I just got done discussing this in the Market Outlook Zoom session. Whenever you have a name, sorry, I'm working with one hand here. I'm trying to keep my dog chill. Come out. You're all right, bud. Whenever you have a name where it's holding on to the support, really nice, right? We keep bouncing off that 20-day moving average. The bulls are defending it, and at the same time, you're building under that level, right? At some point, something's got to give in the middle here, at the top here. I really love these setups on the daily chart. Whenever you have any kind of setup like this, you're usually going to get a pretty nice breakout. We had this occur in Tesla, back when they were putting in $300-$400 moves. These were the kind of setups you were seeing that were really going off like crazy. All right, guys, and so to round this out, I just want to keep an eye on Square. And Square is a little different here, whereas Apple and AMD held on to that 20-day daily demand really well, and they're starting to build up to the upside there. Square, I still want to hit this name to the upside, but it's a little bit different in the sense that it's not as much of a sure thing. I think I'm gonna probably hit this setup with a little bit less size. This is one of those setups where I'm kind of looking back here over the past month and a half, and I'm noticing that held on to its supply very well, had a nice leg up, traded up into its demand, traded down into its demand, held on to it very well. Again, another leg up, Now again, so now this is the second time through this cycle. I want to see, is this a trend that we could potentially see cycle through a third time now, coming off of earnings? Again, keep in mind Square is heavily associated with Bitcoin, so if we have a run in Bitcoin, you could see some sympathy gains in Square. And again, I don't want to hit this name with size, because I am looking at this chart and I'm sort of thinking to myself, if the Qs turn red, this is a name that could rip through that 20 day, and we could catch a $14 L on this trade. I don't want to do that. I want to see it confirm and close above all of its moving averages. So I would like to see a push through that 273 area, start to push, and then towards the end of the day, if it looks like we're going to close above that 273, I want to consider starting an upside position, probably with 827 calls. 273, I might take like 285, 290 calls, see if I can catch about a $10 move over the course of 2 or 3 days, and then go ahead and secure some nice gains. So that's going to be my game plan with Square. And again, there's a lot of names I'm looking at. I'll be putting them out on Twitter, putting them out in the Titanflow app. But these are just 3 that I probably liked more than any other names I went over on my watch list. So I really wanted to share these with you guys, and hopefully you guys can capitalize on these with me this week if all goes well. All right, guys, again, I'll be putting out watch lists in the Titanflow mobile app tomorrow, and I will be interacting with you guys on Twitter if you have any questions. And, let's kill it this week. Let's keep an eye on that aggressive flow. Whenever aggressive flow steps in on a big name with the chart confirming, that's what we're going to be going after. We know that a lot can change over the course of 10 hours, 10 hours from now, 11 hours from now, when the market gets ready to open up. We could have a completely different game plan. All we can do is adjust, but we can follow that options flow. That's going to do it for me, guys. Hope everybody has a good night and a really good trading day tomorrow. Take care, everyone.